One. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Road to Retail podcast. And thanks for joining us today. And I appreciate everybody's support on joining us on our LinkedIn page, on our YouTube page, and also Spotify and iTunes. And so this is a part of our founder series that we're doing this couple of weeks. And we're just got another great founder today, Nigel Smith from Zurena. So welcome, Nigel. And thank you so much for being on our podcast today. And also, I know Bruce, who you're normally used to seeing, is taking a little sabbatical, but Bruce will be back, and you'll see in a few weeks we'll be interviewing some other great people as well. So we truly appreciate you joining us today. And Krista, why don't you introduce yourself as our guest host today?
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Krista Anderson, founder and CEO of Healthy on the Go, an international natural food brokerage company based in the US and France. And our mission is to help create a preventative healthcare system by making healthy foods accessible. I'm also the author of Claim Your Healing and Living My Dream Life here in the south of France.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Krista. We so appreciate you being a part of the podcast and a part of our founder series. So Nigel Smith, welcome. Thanks so much again for joining us. So Nigel, tell our audience of Small Emerging Brands a little bit about you, and then we'll get into some questions that I think that our audience is really going to enjoy the discussion today.
Absolutely. So hello, everyone. Nigel Smith, founder, CEO of Zurena. And I'm thrilled to be here. Tracy and Krista, thank you so much for not just for having me, but for having this series. I think there's something really powerful about learning. It's like I tell everyone it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to build a successful brand. And there's so much learnings out there. So the more that you can learn, absorb, hear from others' mistakes, hear from others' successes, incorporate it into your own, I think it serves an amazing purpose. So again, thank you for doing this podcast.
Thank you so much.
So I always start with, what's that accent? So I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. Is the most southerly islands in the Caribbean. It's two islands, one country. Beautiful place, sun and sand and beaches. We have the best carnival in the world, but it's also a very diverse country. So many cultures from all over the world that come together in one amazing fusion. So I feel blessed, having spent a lot of years, in Trinidad before immigrating to the United States. When I came here, I would say, people say, I've lived the American dream, so it's something that I sit back and I appreciate, and like it's been an amazing journey. Started off in a community college, and from there ended up at some of the most admired educational institutions and companies in the world. So Howard undergrad in DC, Stanford for my MBA. I spent a lot of time in places like Goldman Sachs and McKinsey and KPMG, Visa, the Credit Card Association, and over a decade at AARP, a nonprofit focused on helping people live their best lives. I presented to the United Nations, Brussels Forum, represented the US at Métis in Japan. So I've done a lot of amazing things. But along the way, I decided to start a company, just do an entrepreneurial thing, almost as a passion project, side hustle while I was working full time. And this was back in 2015. And literally it was, taking my late grandpa's recipe, a secret family recipe for over 60 years, and, getting it produced and put on shelves and sold on Amazon. At the time I was spending a lot of time thinking about, life and life success and a lot of perspectives, just really sunk in for me. And one is that there's so much value, so much hidden treasures throughout the entire world. And, these things may just die in obscurity. And I had an opportunity, I feel like an amazing opportunity to take a recipe that was magic and get it produced. And, it was named after my two daughters, Zuri and Rena. So it's called Zurena. And, the first bottle had my late grandpa's name on the bottle. I mean, so it was done for, I think, all the right reasons. And then along the way, I realized, oh my God, there's something big about this product. I knew my customers were, I saw differentiated value, and decided a couple of years ago to just become that full-time CEO. And that's what I've been doing ever since, building out the value chain, establishing relationships, pursuing a strategy that I believe is going to work, thinking very big and globally about what my aspirations are going to be. And that's where I am right now. So it's been an amazing and absolutely amazing journey, and especially the last couple of years. So I'm just thrilled to, people think I'm a bajillionaire when I'm wearing these hats and everything, but I'm not there yet. We are well on our way. I believe, it's a long journey, but I think this has been one of the most exciting journeys of my life. I feel like everything has prepared me for right now. So that's who I am, and that's my background.
I love it. What a great story. And that just plays into our Founders series. And I just love that you share that in your passion for your family. I work with you directly, and I just know that you love your girls and your family, and what a great story and a great heritage.
Thank you.
Krista's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, but so I've had this idea for my greatest dream, if I could do it, would be to travel around the world, discovering the secrets, the traditions of how other cultures live a healthy life, and discovering these types of secret family recipes, I think is like so interesting. And so I love that you've brought it to life for other people to experience and put that story around it. It's incredible. So I guess what advice would you give to just a small emerging brand coming out of the gate for their business?
That's a good question. Look, I'm married. I've been married for over 20 years. And this might be the weirdest analogy you're gonna hear for the day. But I think a startup or an emerging brand in retail is like a marriage, not a date, not a fling, a marriage. So think about what a marriage entails. You're getting into something for the long term. You get into believing it's gonna last forever. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, right? I listen. One of my friends, Saida, she has this amazing podcast. It's all about getting married couples who've been married for a long time together, and they share like how they met and so forth. And so one couple shared this one time and never forgot it. It's like, I married this guy not because of who he was today. I knew that in the next 10, 20 years, he would be somebody different. So I married him for what that difference would be. And I would hope that I could shape it into something that I would like. But I knew that I was it's not about the now, it's about the future. And that really stuck in my head, right? Because, when you start a company, you start a brand, it's going to change. It's going to change from the get-go. I mean, I told you my first bottle had my grandpa's name written on it. Like literally, it was a handwritten note, an ode to Carlton Smith, the greatest mixologist of his time. And that was so important to me. But oh my God, the market's feedback was, "Ooh, that looks bad. It makes the product look cheap." It was just like every possible angle, it was rejected. Like, not the note, but how it looked on the bottle. And so for the next iteration, it was a very clean label. And and for me, it was a gut-wrenching decision because of the why I was doing it. But, the thing is, you go to my website, I speak about Grandpa. I'm speaking about Grandpa on this podcast right now. So there's other ways that you can get these things to happen. But the whole point is the bottle change. Everything changes, right? So once you get into this, if you aren't prepared to be in this for the long haul, for the ups and the downs, it's probably not going to last. I would say one thing though, just as in a marriage, the best moments you never forget. Like you celebrate the highs more than anything else. Just got a purchase order this week from a distributor we've been quoting for a long time. You celebrate like it's no tomorrow. It's like, yes, yes, yes. Of course, there's lows and everything in between, but it's a journey. So you're on this for a long journey, and you want to make sure that your vision materializes, and you just have to stick with it and be persistent.
I love that because I feel like as entrepreneurs, we're always trying to get somewhere. If we just get here, then we'll be successful, be happy, we've arrived. But there's never a place of getting there. You're always, it's the next thing, the next thing. So I love that you're talking about celebrating the wins along the way. That's really smart.
And a lot of entrepreneurs don't do that, right?
Yeah,
They're like, okay.
I'll tell you one thing, and one of my best friends, mentors, investors, well, Q, he said something to me that I would just never forget after my first production run. He's like, Nigel, you did it. Like, whether Zurena sells 1 billion in sales or doesn't sell a single bottle, this is an amazing success. It's like you did it, you got it out there, you got it produced, and you're absolutely right. So there is that. Yeah, you ultimately want to sell a lot and make a lot of money, but the journey is so important. And for me as an entrepreneur, I'm relishing the fact that I can, set my own values within a company, the term that I hate more than anything else is, it's not personal, it's business. It's like, no, you cannot separate those two, right? So I've always thought about, like, how is this an extension of me and my life values, my ultimate measures of successful life. And I try to incorporate that as much as I can in how we operate, how we engage with each other, me and my staff members. And it's to me, it's such a real important thing.
So good.
Thank you.
He's speaking your language, Krista.
Like perfect timing. Thank you.
That was good. Good. So I'm up on my question. So tell our audience a little, Nigel, about maybe some of the mistakes that you've made along the way, that you can share some of your wisdom. I know you're chuckling. Just a couple here that, hey, small emerging brand, you might want to avoid this. This is what I experienced. But I love the fact that you talk about that it's a journey and it's a long haul. You can't be in consumer packaged goods for the short term and think that you're going to be a millionaire, overnight or even over a year. So tell us a couple things.
Well, there's a whole bunch of things. I mean, we have learned a lot. We have a lot of battle scars, right? I mean, probably one thing I would say that comes to mind is just start small.
Yeah.
And when I say start small, it doesn't necessarily mean like, okay, you're going into retail in the smallest mom and pop shop, and no, it's even if you get into a big box retail, if they have 100 stores, so I'll tell you right this, if they have 100 stores, it is so much better to get into 5 or 10, crush the hell out of it, and then the next step would be, okay, we got to get this brand into all 100 stores. They're killing it, right? Versus you're in 50 stores, you crush 25 of them, but the others are mixed. Then the next year, maybe, well, let's take away these extra 25 where they aren't really crushing it. And so suddenly it's like a different trajectory, right? The thing about starting small is you have an opportunity to learn, right? And this is an ongoing learning journey. There's all these amazing tools out there that focuses on the iterative process, right? We use a business model canvas a lot. We use after action reviews a lot. It's how we doing something. We go in there with like a strong point of view. Well, this is what we think is the right thing to do to execute. Then you get in there and then you learn. Then you step back and it's like, okay, what are we learning? What could we do different? Let's do that. Let's change that, iterate. So that process of testing, learning, iteration, it's a lot easier when it's you're starting small versus when you start big. It really is like you're in pure execution mode, and it's like it's really so you wanna give yourself that grace, right? The other thing about starting small is that you're gonna realize this: every retail establishment is different. I mean, we are in a set of stores right now, in a major retailer in Texas, and I'll tell you right now, like Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, El Paso, it's like different countries, different cultures. What works in one place does not work in another. The stuff that we do in store samplings with in one place would be loved here, but not loved somewhere else. So you almost want to be able to step back and really dissect, see what works, see what, and then you apply that. And then once you get that opportunity to scale, you're moving forward with a lot more confidence. So that's just number one. Just start small, that's number one.
That's such great insight. And we talk about that a lot on our Road to Retail podcast, that start regionally, start in one market and grow from there. I love what you said about test and learn. A lot of people don't do that, right, Krista? They just like, I work with brands all the time. I want to be everywhere. I have one brand that their first retailer was Walmart in all stores. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, it's so sexy, so attractive. It's like you want that foundation, like as soon as possible. We're at 1 billion stores, but then you're in the billion stores, and it's like, okay,
now what?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So let me build up on that, right? Because there's another lesson learned for me. And I'm still figuring out. I don't want to come and say like I know it all. I'm learning. How do you manage? So we are existing not just in the US but internationally. We're in different places, and what I've realized so important is you need to have that physical presence, like or someone on the ground who you trust, who's gonna have your brand at heart, and take that initiative. So I'll tell you, we had gotten into some stores. I remember flying there. I almost did a live video because I wanted to be like, we're in the store, walking in the store. So I got in the store and product wasn't on the shelf. And I'm like, cool, where's my product? And I go and they check the inventory. It's like, yeah, we have a few cases. I don't know where it is. They spent 20 minutes searching the store after I let them know I was the CEO of the brand. They still couldn't find it. The conclusion was, well, we think it's in that pile of boxes over there, but we don't know. And the thing is, like, if I wasn't physically there, I would just be looking at the sales reports and thinking, well, wow, it's not moving. So maybe this market doesn't care for it, or these consumers don't care. Well, no, it's not there because it just wasn't on the shelf. So, so the thing is, you want to make sure that there is that fit. I've done Undercover Boss, or at least attempted to.
I love this. Oh my gosh.
oh God, that was fun, but just going out there and seeing for your own self, like, how are your brand ambassadors when they're doing demos? Are they representing the brand the way you would like? So we our product is about Caribbeanization, and I don't think I mentioned what the product is. So now maybe a good time.
Go ahead.
So Zurena is a portfolio of simple and versatile Caribbean drink mixers. Absolutely magic. You add these to any dark or white spirit, any wine, any beer, and any bubbly, creates an instant high quality Caribbean cocktail in a matter of seconds. Because they have no alcohol, you can add them to club soda, juices, teas. They create instant high quality Caribbean mocktails or hot toddies in a matter of seconds. No other product in the world matches the speed, ease of use, versatility, and quality of Zurena. In fact, they were all rated 89 points by the Tasting Panel magazine.
Wow.
It is amazing. I'm in this because I shared my background. I'm in this because I believe to my core that we have something that's different and better than anything else in the world. And I'm here to disrupt the beverage industry with this product. So part of what we do, I mentioned Caribbean drinks, Caribbean cocktails. I feel like I'm an ambassador of Caribbean. So with our brand ambassadors, when they're doing samplings, I tell them, imaginary, like, place a 5-foot wall around you, and like, you're in the Caribbean, you're on the beach. I want you to look down and imagine sand on your feet. I want you to look up and feel the heat on your face. And I have everyone playing Caribbean music. And it's like, when people come into the stores, you smile at them. You're not pushing a product. You're selling Caribbean. It's like, how you doing? Hey man, like, have that conversation.
I love it.
Own the trademark for uplifting spirits. How can I uplift your spirits today? What's going on in life? Oh, by the way, you want to have an amazing cocktail? They mix it in front of that person and hand it to them. I mean, to me, it's more important to have high quality interactions with 10 consumers than here with 100, right? Because we are selling this very unique experience. So it all gets to that physical. I needed to go into stores and see, are my brand ambassadors representing Caribbean? I've trained them virtually. It's like, are they doing this how I would like my brand to be represented? So that physical piece is important.
Such good insight. I want to stop you right there because there's a couple nuggets that I really. So first of all, our audience today,
Mm-hmm.
listen to Nigel how he knows exactly what his elevator speech is. Did you catch that, Krista? Like he knows
It's beautiful. Yeah.
right from the heart, and it's from the heart. He knows his brand story cold, and he could tell it to anybody in a second. The second thing is he's selling not just a product but an experience, and I think that sets the him and his brand apart. The third thing I heard you say that I want to capture is you got to be hands on. You can't run your brand and from your desk. You've got to, and you do a great job, Nigel, because I know you. You get out there and you take trips to Texas where you are and go into stores and things like that. And I don't know if all brands really do that. And if you're not, you're really, I think, missing an opportunity to really understand the market and understand your brand. And then the third thing I want to just reiterate is start small. And one thing I learned this week from another brand is as a brand owner, it's hard to say no. Like if Walmart called you tomorrow, Nigel, and said, I want to put you in 4,500 stores, you would probably say, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But no, because that's not where I am in my journey. I need to test and learn more. And so I think it's hard for brands to say no. Krista, your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, gosh, I think you're selling an experience to people, and I think that this is the part of storytelling, and I mean, but it's storytelling that comes from the heart, like Tracy said, but selling that experience, you're giving people a chance to travel and experience another culture that they would never have the opportunity of. And I think that's really important in brand building, is creating that experience. Some of the greatest brands in the world, Nike, Apple, they sell an experience and they make people feel something. So I think that's really key.
Yeah.
So what, I guess, what mental checklist should a small emerging brand go through to know that they're ready for retail? What do you suggest?
So I'll share a few thoughts. I think probably the most important one is, do you know your customers? And again, there's a whole bunch of tools and frameworks and out there. Customer value proposition is templates. That's a really good one, right? But here's the thing: it's who's your customer? Why would they care about your brand? What's gonna give them an impetus to make a purchase, to even consider it, right? And how are you different from everyone else? And I want you all to think very expansively about what it means for who's your customer, right? So I'll tell you, like Zurena, right now we have a business customer, we have that consumer who we sell either directly through e-commerce or in retail stores. If you're a restaurant or bar, I mean, we have spent so much time understanding exactly what jobs they have to get done and how are we creating either some sort of pain relief or some sort of benefit in a differentiated way from everyone else. So we would tell a bar, look, you have happy hour and you have to come up with a creative cocktail every day. Well, guess what? You can mix Zurena with everything behind your bar. Everything, doesn't matter what it is, and give it a funky name. And you have a great drink. If you have something that you can move, mix it with that. And suddenly you have churn for your slowest moving inventory. Probably the biggest seller is speed, right? Coming back to happy hour, the more you sell, the more money you make. Or if you're a stadium, an event place, and when that game starts, everyone is going to their seats. You have a limited window in order to churn as much product and sell as much product as you can. And the fact that you can make a drink with Zurena, high quality, in 30 seconds or less, that's a real powerful value prop. So we identified it's 7 in total, and we sell that. We try to understand who our customer is, because not all 7 value props applies to everyone. And then once we know who our customer is or have a good hypothesis around that, we pick the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 and we push that really hard. Here's why you need us. Here's why you need us. Here's how we can help you. So that's important. Now, when it comes to consumers, we know that ease of use is real important. So we have a good sense of who our early adopters are from a demographic perspective. We know that They care about ease of use. Like, I don't want to mess this up. I'm not a mixologist. We know that versatility speaks to them. It's like a drink of empowerment. Like, I like gin, I like Campari, I like champagne, whatever it may be. So guess what? You can make a Caribbean cocktail with whatever you like to drink, right? Now, I want to share something that it's not like Jedi mind tricks, but the ease of use for consumer and the speed for a bar or bartender is pretty much about the same thing, right? You take a spirit, you add Zurena, you have something that you can make in 30 seconds, and you can't mess it up. But guess what? We would never go to a bartender or a food service manager and say ease of use, because that would be insulting. Like, what do you mean ease of use? I'm a mixologist, I'm trained. No, we say, no, we are helping you move stuff really fast. Speed. You care about speed, we're helping you with speed. Mm-hmm. If you're a consumer, I don't care about speed. If I have a party, you aren't gonna mess it up. You just, when we do that mix in the stores, like we don't have pre-served, cocktails. We mix it in front, hand it to them. Sparks go out in their eyes. Oh my God, I just saw you do that in front of me. If you can do that, I can do that when I get home. So we aren't going to talk about speed. We're going to talk about ease of use. So the thing is, could be the same message, but how you convey that
is important. Yeah.
It is important. Know your customer. Number one, most important thing from a mental checklist. Right.
I love that. And what I hear though, for our audience today is you're selling an experience and you're selling a solution, solution either directly to the consumer. I can mix this with anything, or you're selling a solution. So I think if a great mental checklist for a small emerging brand is, what am I selling and who am I selling it to? Yeah. And those are the two questions you really need to answer before going to retail, because you're going to have to explain that to a buyer.
Yeah.
Right. How are you making their life easier?
Yeah. So on that note, right, and I may be taking this all the way to an extreme, so forgive me. I look at everyone in my value chain as a consumer, right? So, so manufacturer, they just want to like produce and sell, but are you giving them appropriate estimates? Are you reaching out? Are you being like, are you letting them know how things are changing, evolving? Because that helps them. So it's not just about the sale, it's about the communication with a distributor. Yeah, they want to move X amount of cases per week. But are you providing someone to go out with them on their sales team to help with the pitch? Are you giving them enough information? Are you helping to make their life easier as they do what they need to do? Retail stores, everyone. Yes, they want to see you churning as much as possible. Are you coming in? Are you doing education with my staff members, that once you're not in the store, that they know what the hell your product is and they can appropriately sell it, right? So you have to think about every single everyone in your value chain as a customer. Again, what do they have to do? What do you have that is going to make their life easier? And you just apply that. And more that you can do that, I would think you have an easier or better chance of success.
High touch is what you're saying. High touch.
High touch, exactly. Especially in the early days.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. So next question, Nigel, tell us about some of the learnings that you've had raising money. So I know you're in the money raise phase right now. So give us one or two nuggets on fundraising.
So I've learned so much, but I would say in your earliest round, there's almost two different types of investors, right? One is that I'm investing in you.
Yes.
I'm investing in Nigel, right? And that investor is typically in for the long haul. And you just wanna be communicative with them. You want to let them know how they can further help you, because they're here to help you, right? You want to know that they're investing in you. So you may have said something in a pitch, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Don't beat up yourself if you don't do X, Y, and Z, because they're investing in you to make that decision on whether X, Y, and Z is still valuable or you need to go to A, B, and C. So you are nurturing that relationship. And these are the best, say they're some of the best investors to have, because they're there to help you. They're almost an extension of your team, right? Then there's the investors, and honestly, I'll throw banks in here if you're trying to get financing and so forth, that are really looking at it from a more traditional ROI perspective, right? And this is where it becomes a little bit trickier, especially in the early days. They want to see momentum. Like, when did you found your company? What were your sales? What were your sales the last 12 months, 24 months? Are you profitable? Your customer base growing? Who's your team? What's the rest? So they're looking at it from a, I'd say more short term, but there's definitely a risk management view perspective. And they want to make sure that this investment translates into a return. And it's important for these stakeholders that you are, you're planning, you've identified your milestones, your success metrics, your KPIs, you're overly sharing with them what you're doing. If you have to pivot, you have to evolve. Make sure that they know that, yes, you are managing the risk as much as you can, and you are get to a path, because, there may be shifts. It may be like, well, it's not going to happen in 1 year, it's going to happen in 3 years, but it's going to happen. Don't worry about your money. It's safe. It's good. So you have to always foster those relationships, and just make sure that, again, once more, right brain, left, it's like really the love, I'm here, all gooey, and the other is just like, show me the numbers. Like, how is this moving? So you have to deal with both investors, in the same way. You want to do a lot of research on the vehicles that you're using to raise funds. So we did a pre-seed safe last year, and make sure that your earliest investors who are taking risks, you reward them as best as you can. Bigger discount rates and so forth. So think about almost, again, looking at each of your investors from a customer point of view. Why are they doing this? What do they have to do? How is this investment that they're making, either relieving pain or providing some sort of benefit? So again, it's really looking at that from every possible angle. All right.
Good point.
I'll just say one more quick thing. Timing matters. Last year was a rough economy. I mean, there's just a lot of volatility in the marketplace and so forth. So when you're an early startup, you represent the highest amount of risk, right? And there may be folks who are in that friends family, that, right brain love bucket, who just may not be able to do something because the market is just really bad. So a lot of it is, there's a little bit of luck involved as well. And, if the market is great, you have someone who's like ready to do it, just move, make it happen. Don't wait for some sort of bad market event to happen that would suddenly jeopardize a potential investment.
Good advice. Krista, thoughts and next question?
Yeah, I mean, my next question for you, Nigel, is what has been your greatest success in your career? I think you have many, but what would be the greatest one?
My career. Oh, so good question. I look really young, but I've been looking for a long, long time.
I love that. That's honest.
Look, I would say right here, right now, Zurena.
No.
So I'll tell you
your legacy right now.
Well, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But no. So for me, what's important about this journey, and why I would say it's a bigger success, is a lot of the evolution of the why. So remember, earlier on, you asked a question, I said, you're getting into a marriage long term. So for me, I started off this journey. It was about family, legacy, and love. It was a passion project. It was my side hustle while I was working full time. I wanted to honor my grandpa by getting his recipe in the world and putting his name on a bottle. I wanted to name this after my daughters, give them an example of the art of the possible. If you have a dream, no matter how big, go out there, make it happen. And I would say, check, like that happened. Then it became oh my God, you have a product that can change the world. Your customers are, you understand what the value propositions are. So it then became a like excitement around the actual disruptive nature of the product itself. And it's like, yeah, we have something we could probably get into every sphere, every corner of the world, and create a lot of value, right? And I would say that part of the why is still, we're going to be executing on that for a minute. We aren't in every crevice and corner of the world yet, but we plan to be. What's happened in the last couple of years has been a couple other evolutions of the why that I'm excited about. When we did our first product run, we were positioning ourselves as the best universal drink mix in the entire world, right? You add this to anything, make any type of drink you want. That was the push. And then of course we got a lot of customer feedback, but also speaking to a lot of experts, and it was, you're too broad. What are you going to own with Zurena? And that's when it became so obvious. Oh my God, this is from the Caribbean. You add this and you make a lot of great, funky, tropical drinks and so forth. So it became that brand positioning around Caribbeanization. And it was a brand position that we can tell to every bartender as a point of entry. Hey, you want us in your restaurant? You want us in your bar? You can have a Caribbean cocktail with everything behind your bar. It was something that was underrepresented in the marketplace, something that was exciting, and something that we thought we can own authentically. And of course, with consumers, everyone wants to be in the Caribbean, go to the beach, have that fun time and so forth. So it suddenly became like I became an ambassador for Caribbean and Caribbeanization. I mean, we got some great trademarks and everything. The official taste of soca, right, is one. In addition to uplifting spirits and uplifting communities, but it's like we are doing everything we can to kind of push this message out there, and it's something that I'm really proud of and excited about.
That's awesome. I love it.
Let me share one last thing though, because to me this is the most important, because this has just evolved in the last couple of months. So I mentioned I'm from Trinidad, Paradise, most beautiful place on earth, right? I do have a very humble background. So I grew up in I would say one of the poorest, roughest projects in the Caribbean. Just known for drugs, violence, crime, all that stuff. Didn't have running water. At least it was like a water pressure problem. So I would say a lot of my earlier days was getting these 5-gallon buckets and taking it up 52 steps and everything. So that was my that was my life, and I'm not complaining. Back then, that was just life. It was after again, I would die, but back then that was life, right? I've never, I've always wanted to set this example of, you can come from a place like where I came from, George Street, Port of Spain, and create amazing value. So I've in spite of being a very private person, I've taken every possible opportunity to get my story out there. And it's starting to resonate. It's starting to get out there. So between January and now, our Instagram page has doubled. And when I look at where everyone is coming from, they're coming from the most marginalized communities, not just in Trinidad, but in the Caribbean. And the comments that are being put out, like when we do a post, it's like, I tell my kids about you. I wish I had someone like you in my life, continue to do what you're doing, continue to inspire. It creates a lot of pressure for me, because in my mind, Zurena cannot fail, because the narrative is now shifting from a product to me. And it's like, how dare you? How dare you come from where you came from to try to create this global brand? But for me, it's something I'm proud of. I own, because it's like, if again, coming back to the whole life purpose, like I always try to overthink. It's like a jigsaw puzzle of like, what's the jigsaw puzzle of my life? Why was I born where I was born? How did I end up in all the places I ended up? How I end up here right now? And to me, this is where it kind of comes full circle, because it's almost like I'm using my life as an example to inspire others, just like me.
That's awesome. I love that.
That's why, it's why I say this right now here is, it feels like everything has led up to this moment. And, I feel like very proud, and I see this as my greatest success.
Yeah.
Love that. Love the story. Love it. Love your passion. So Nigel, as we wrap up here, how can people find you? How can they connect?
So many ways. Please follow us on all social pages at MyZurena, MyZurena. If you're on LinkedIn, we have a Zurena page. Follow us on LinkedIn. You can email myzurena.com. And if you are on the Amazon platform, show us some love.
I love it. I love it.
And look for us soon. Again, we're on a very ambitious global journey. And, if we aren't where you are right now, we will be sometime very soon.
Well, Nigel, thank you so much for all of that wisdom. We really appreciate it. Just love having you on and loving your passion and your story, and just share with our audience your journey, because that's really what it is all about, is the journey. And I know Krista agrees with that as well, because she's on her own journey, which we all love as well. Yeah. So great. Well, thank you again, Nigel, for being on. Please look for this episode here in the next couple of weeks. And again, please follow us on our LinkedIn page, Road to Retail, Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And we will be back at you soon. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks for having me.